The day has finally come, the day that we get to show off the Dakota Blue Exotics Reptile Room 2.0. A lot of work has come into completely remodeling itself. Of course, you guys have seen some of the new setups we have. But today we're going to cut this intro short because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's get into it. Kicking things off, let's get into some stuff that is a little bit familiar. We decided to keep the new Caledonian geckos right here because I think it just looks cool. It's a nice little hallway. We got some new stuff we'll talk about in a second. First up on the list, we have this absolutely gorgeous female Lychee on us. A beautiful girl. I'm really excited. This is the first year we've actually had Lychee on us. We got him back in April of 2023. So next season will be our first year breeding Lychee on us. And man, some baby Lychees is gonna be absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to start breeding this species. Over here, we've been kind of going up the new Caledonian ladder. So we started off with crested geckos, then got into gargoyle geckos for a couple of years. Last year, we started breeding Chihuahua geckos. These are some of the guys we've had. We've had this pair for exactly 1 year, had an absolutely amazing 2022 season. This year, well, there's high and lows with Chihuahua breeding. Last year, we did absolutely amazing, getting 5 great egg clutches, or 5 great eggs. This year, they're all duds. The female completely dudded out, and unfortunately there were no Chihuahua geckos that hatched out over here in 2023. Still some amazing guys. We got 2 girls that are growing out for next season. They'll be ready to breed. Absolutely can't wait for that, for some more Chihuahuas, but right now we just got this pair going. Next year we're going to have our fingers crossed for a better season. Hopefully some more Chihuahua geckos will be available by then. Lastly, over here we have the male to that female Lychee that we talked about. Absolutely a great guy. Personally, for me, I think the female Lychee is just a little bit prettier. You can't beat those nice polka dots. However, this dude is ravishing some like pinkish stuff going on. Just not as much polka dots, or more of like speckling than I would kind of consider them dots. Still an absolutely amazing dude. They are a little bit cage defensive, so instead of stressing him out and having him hold them and everything, we're just gonna leave him be. I did eventually have an actual LED bar right here. However, what I've come to find out is not only that LED bar, but about 80% of my LED bars actually broke during transit. Remember, we actually moved here pretty recently, a couple months ago. So it looks like I'm gonna have to buy some more LED bars. So unfortunately, right now, we don't have any extra lighting, but we will get some back very soon. In fact, we actually have some special enclosure for this breeding pair for their breeding setup, but more on that later. Over here, we also kept a lot of stuff the same. We got our little isopod colonies going. Remember, we got the orange isopods that, by the way, have been doing absolutely fantastic. We have a small army of orange isopods right now, which is so cool. We also have the dairy cow isopods. Those big guys haven't been doing that well for us, but they are breeding. We do see some babies in there. And then the zebras as well, still cool. Same thing, the oranges have really exploded. The other two, it's still not there yet. On top of that, we also have the dwarf whites and springtails to sell here hopefully next season when our colonies get big enough. It's good old reliable, the Seed Serpent's Hotbox incubator going on, still great. Some eggs in there. Season's a little rough right now. We figured that with the move, so not many eggs left, so hopefully next year we can fill this bad boy up after. And of course, over here, my good old tarantula corner. We decided to keep this. It's a little bit more snug than it used to be. We'll talk about these new cages here very soon. But still a nice little tarantula corner. So it's pretty much where we're going to be keeping like all of our non-reptile stuff. We don't have much that isn't reptile, so I had to keep this in a little corner. If you guys don't know, we'll talk about them a little bit right here. But if you guys also are new here, why not going down and hit that subscribe button, like button for me? It really helps out and you guys get up to date with what's going on. Kicking things off with this big tank right here, we have T. Smithy, otherwise known as the Goliath bird-eating tarantula, the big boy. First thing off when I'm starting to tarantulas, of course I got like 2, and then I'm like, you know what, give me the biggest tarantula there is. Let's go for it. Thing's absolutely fantastic. I love feeding. I'm finally getting this tarantula to start tongue feeding so I can get her to like run out of her little hide, eat the food, and then crawl back in. It's so cool to do. Then over here, we got a couple of really good stuff. The GBB was my first tarantula that I ever started out with. And then down here, we have a really great handleable curly hair. I saw it at an expo for like $10. I'm like, a nice handleable tarantula? Why not? We got the big one that I don't really dare to stick my hand in there, but also a curly hair just when I want to hang out with a tarantula. Those are cool too. Other than that, we've got 3 sling P. vittatus and also a subadult P. regalis that is very exciting. The Indian Oriental tarantula. Really cool dude. Kind of been hot and miss with the regalis trying to feed it. Sometimes it eats, sometimes it doesn't want to eat. Doesn't seem to want roaches that much, so I've been doing crickets, but I gotta feed it a little more with crickets because roaches are obviously a better source of food than that cricket, but I digress. Skeleton leg tarantula over here, my juvenile Brazilian black, very exciting. I think this is probably my favorite tarantula right now. I absolutely adore the Brazilian black tarantulas. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, is a juvenile, and of course the downside of Brazilian blacks being they take forever to get an adult size. You don't really see adults anymore. I believe the importation of them has stopped, if I'm correct. Don't quote me on that. But still, in about 5, 6, 7, 8, 14 years, when this thing's an adult, it will definitely be my favorite tarantula that we have here. At this point, I think you guys are wondering, we got a few new enclosures. What's going on here? We did actually have our friend drop off some stuff. She was downsizing, and I was like, yeah, dude, these things are really cool. I'll totally take them. One new tarantula and then some non-tarantula stuff. If you guys want to know what those are, we are going to keep them a secret for a little bit longer. However, if you guys head over to Patreon, it's a great way to support your boy over here. It costs $1 a month to check out with these guys. And we have a free trial going on for 1 week free. So you could actually go to Patreon, click on it, get the free week, and then go off, and you get to see what those amazing animals are. Why am I promoting that? I don't make money. What am I doing? Coming on over here, you guys will notice this is completely different. Where we used to have all of our grow out and baby new Caledonian geckos has been completely replaced, and let's talk about it right now. Starting off right here in this 15-gallon enclosure, we have 2 green-eyed Halmahera giant Halmahera giant green-eyed geckos? The Halmahera geckos, the poor man's chihuahua. If you can't afford the $800 mossy gecko, get one of these guys, which are kind of mossy, but not as handleable, and they got the sloth skin, which is kind of for a great display pet. I actually got these guys because I've never seen captive bred species. You see wild caught for like 15 bucks all the time, but this guy was actually selling captive bred ones. Ended up trading him for some of my baby Tokay geckos I had at the time, and I do believe this is still a pair. We're growing them out. I think one next year they will be ready to breed if they are a pair. So if that's the case, we will have captive bred and born Halmahera geckos available at that time. Then of course, you see this big enclosure right here. This is for my quince monitor. Absolutely love the quinces. We've got the smaller one right in here, the female, I do believe. Kind of a funny story for this girl, so I'll probably show it in some B-roll. She actually goes behind the background they have. I usually don't do backgrounds for any smart lizard because they always figure out a way to crawl back there. And at first, I thought she was stuck, and I was like, okay, in a couple minutes, as soon as I'm done cleaning up, I'm gonna take everything out, get the background, get her out. However, after I was done cleaning, I came back and she was basking. She can actually get herself back there and out at the same time. So at that point, I'm like, well, you know what? If she feels safe and secure, if that's her little hidey hole, why not just let her do it? You know, this girl has been very shy. I'm really going on bulking her up instead of really working on socialization. I want her a good, nice, good, healthy size. So once she's at that point, she looks a little bit better, we'll start getting her desocialized and desensitized and stop being so shy. But until then, she wants to go behind the enclosure, even though I worked vigorously, all the nice cork rounds and cork bark and cool sticks. She decides to go behind the enclosure. Well, that's okay. She can do whatever she wants. Shooting on down here, we got some other stuff to talk about. This one is a very special Tokay gecko. Not only was it literally the only Tokay gecko I produced in 2022, and I want that to sink in for you boys and girls. Old Dakota has around 15 Tokay geckos. I produced 1 animal through the whole year. Of course, if you guys seen that video, you guys know we revamped everything, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the next couple months we will be drowning in Tokay geckos, and we've fixed all of the mistakes that we've been doing. If I was only to produce 1 Tokay gecko that year, this is the Tokay I would want. Now, this one is going to be a granite times oddball, my unidentified Tokay mutation I'm trying to prove out. I'm really fingers crossed that this is going to be a boy. So far, it came out as a normal, which I kind of expected. So hopefully, this is male. We can line breed it back to oddball, again, that unidentified Tokay mutation, and see if we can prove out and have our very own genetic mutation for Dakota Blue Exotics. After all my times getting bit by Tokays, I do believe I deserve naming a Tokay mutation. My hands, I have dedicated blood, 100%, sweat and tears into the Tokay project. I deserve something named after me for Tokay. Right next to it, we do have the quince monitor back in this 36 by 18 by 18. There's a good reason for that, and I think you can kind of see it right there, but let's go ahead and talk about it right now. This right here is supposed to be the quince monitor's home, and it was for a little bit. However, Old Dakota saw it, and I saw that this is a really nice big 4 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot enclosure, and it just had a couple of sticks in there and it looked kind of sad. You know, I did have 1 plant, but I was like, man, I could really make this thing into something truly special, and I do believe that quince monitor right there deserves something truly special. We ended up putting him back in that temporary enclosure, and we got to work. Now, originally, this was only supposed to take me about a week. I was gonna do cool custom backgrounds. I got some plants that are ready to go in there, and good to go. We're all set, right? However, then Old Dakota, of course, while he's working on a project, got a crazy idea to do for this enclosure. And unfortunately, it is going to take some customization and fabrication in order to get it to work. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but instead of this taking me about a week, I believe it's going to take me around a month to get the background completely secured. The crazy idea I have for it, there's a couple of different variables I can utilize it for. So one, I have to go with that plan, and then I got to start really cutting this thing up and customizing it to make it work. I'm gonna go above and beyond in this enclosure, but I truly believe when it's done, you'll never see a Zen Habitats enclosure look like what I'm about to do with this. We are gonna go above and beyond for this animal because I truly believe he deserves it. Plus, then I'm gonna have a really cool giant enclosure. Like, you gotta have at least one of those. I decided to make it this one. Then over here is where you guys are going to see the absolute biggest difference. What used to be a giant grow tent right here, and then a couple of PVC enclosures, kind of wherever I could put them, has been transformed into a beautiful wall of PVC caging where I have all of my amazing new Cale and Tokay breeders. I just want to give a huge shout out to my friend Jocelyn and Nibs for helping me out on this. There is absolutely no way I could have lifted these giant enclosures up and stack them like this, how they are. So huge shout out to them. They really helped me out. Nibs made this really cool wooden like frame to help with the glass. Unfortunately, these AP cages, they don't come with support brackets, which is kind of silly for how large and wide some of these enclosures are, but whatever, it's not like I'm gonna get any more in the future. So we did need to create some sort of frame to hold it together so this glass wouldn't be an issue. The people that haven't followed us for a bit, let's go cage by cage and I'll talk to you all of the animals we have over here. Now over here, this is a really special enclosure for me, right? While this is just a regular wooden first gen Zen Habitats to most people, this is an amazing enclosure. This was the first sponsorship deal I've ever done as Dakota Blue Exotics. Back when I only had like 600 subscribers maybe, Zen Habitats took a leap on me. They took a leap of faith and they sent me this enclosure to review and advertise, and I've been an affiliate with them ever since. About 3 or 4 years at this point, we've been doing deals with Zen Habitats. Absolutely love the company. While our collection has definitely changed and evolved over the years, we unfortunately just don't really have anything that's not tropical to go inside an enclosure that really doesn't do well with humidity. Of course, we got our boy Rex down there, or I guess our girl Rex, sorry, I don't mean to misgender her, but she's in a 6x2x2 AP cage, and that's her enclosure. I don't want to move her into a smaller one just because it's what I have. She deserves it, she gets it. And one story down in this, I believe it is a 6 foot by 32 inch deep by 18 inch tall, we have Vivian the red-tailed boa, or for your boa experts, the common boa technically. However, no one knows what I mean by common boa, so I just call her red tail. Deal with it. Now, Viv was actually the 3rd pet I've ever got. Started with Rex the bearded dragon, we'll talk about a little bit, Amo the crested gecko, and then Viv. We've had Viv for approximately 9 years now, so she's going up to almost the double digits, which is absolutely insane. I've had this enclosure, I've had her in this enclosure for like 7 years. Eventually, when we get a bigger space, I would love to add height. I've noticed that red-tailed boas can be a little bit of a semi-arboreal snake. They do enjoy climbing, and so I don't want to deprive her of that. So later on, when we do have more room for a cage, she'll definitely be getting an upgrade for more height for what she wants. Please don't break the brim of my hat. Okay, we'll just take the hat off, that's fine. It's absolutely amazing. Actually, the only snake that we have here, I remember when we had like 20, 30, 40 snakes at one point, something like that, and now we only have one. It's just down to Viv, an absolutely amazing boa. I couldn't see my life without her. While we did get rid of all of our snakes, all of our projects, I included snakes over the years, I could never get rid of Viv. She's like family to me. She'll go wherever I go. She's definitely gotten a lot longer. I remember when this girl used to, where are you going? I remember when this girl used to fit in the size of my hand when I got her as just a baby, and now look at her. If I had to take a guess, maybe like 7 feet, something like that. I don't really know. All I know is she's a big girl. It was absolutely fantastic. I know whenever I show her off, people, oh my god, you're cutting off my circulation. Whenever I show her off, people are like, why don't you make more videos on Viv? And that just happens for the fact that we're kind of a gecko people, right? All of our projects have to do with geckos. We don't really do snakes anymore, so there's not really a reason for us to make snake content. With Dakota Blue Exotics being about my breeding business, Dakota Blue Exotics, we should really focus our content more about the animals that we breed and produce. What are you doing? However, that's not to say we don't love Viv, but there are plenty of boa-only channels out there that definitely have more experience than I do just having one snake. I definitely recommend those channels. For now, Viv is a great pet. Or in the reptile room tours, of course we love to show her off, but it's just a little bit rare these days for what I stated before. However, you know what? We'll leave her out for a little bit. We'll let her hang out with us. That's a compromise for you guys. Instead of making boa content, we'll just have her out for a little bit while I do this. And then on the enclosure below us are the 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot AP cage. We have Rex the bearded dragon. Now the reason this bearded dragon was named Rex is because I thought it was a boy. I got it as a sub-adult. I wasn't really sure. I actually got it from New England Reptile, funny enough. I can't even imagine like Dakota going to Zoo Creatures for the first time and just being enamored with all of the reptiles to like tell him like, hey buddy, like almost a decade from now, you're actually gonna be friends with Kevin McCurley and you're just gonna walk upstairs and just hang out with the monitors like it's nothing. Old Dakota would be proud of new Dakota. Young old Dakota, new to now. Rex is an absolutely amazing bearded dragon. Of course, the first reptile I've ever got in this place, this channel, this business, my full-time career and dream. It would not have existed without that bearded dragon right there. Absolutely fantastic. So it is a girl. It was the first reptile I've ever had. Unfortunately, she is getting up there in age. I want to say around 11 again. I got her as a sub-adult, and I've had her for, I want to say 10 years now. So she's getting up there in age. I know bearded dragons, they say like somewhere around 10 to 15 years. I have noticed in her old age, she kind of is looking the part. She's looking like an 11-year-old bearded dragon, so I'm not sure how much longer Rex will be over here. It'll be an absolutely devastating day when Rex goes. I mean, the first reptile that started all of this will no longer be here. It's very sad. It'll be the first reptile that has died of old age. My first pet reptile has died of old age over here. It'll be a really surreal experience that I'm not sure how to handle. However, we don't have to handle that right now because it's not a thing, and hopefully Rex lives for, again, hopefully that even 15 to 16 years would be absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, the one, the only, everyone's favorite Tokay Gecko. Everyone's favorite Tokay Gecko mutation that we have over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. It's going to be my super red Tokay. Of course, she is still chilling in this. You're going to break my ear. Chilling in this 2x2x2 Zen habitats. Of course, just like the black ones we have over there. Fantastic, she's doing great. She will be paired very soon. I know you guys have been waiting in anticipation for the super red Tokay Gecko babies. However, I wanted to grow her out. She's at the proper age, getting around the proper size now. But at this point, I figured out what morph I want to breed her. I want to keep it a surprise because unfortunately, it's not in my collection yet, but I have a spot where it will be. It's just about selling some babies and raising the funds for it. We got a couple more animals on loan or on hold that I want to pay off, and then we'll be getting to that. So once that male Tokay Gecko is here, cycled, acclimated, we'll be pairing it to this beautiful girl and having a world's first combination over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we did get some new 2x2x2s, and now we just have some black ones and this one. And now what I was thinking at first, I was going to put a Lychee pair in one of these, and the rest are going to be Tokay pairs. But aesthetically, that just doesn't look very nice, right? Like, why are there all Tokays but one, and then you have just one Tokay in there? It doesn't make much sense, right? So what I've decided to do is actually move the Super Red. Once we finish up these 2x2s, we're going to move the Super Red into one of those, and then we're actually going to tear this enclosure apart for the most part. I don't really like how the plants came out. They're not doing too hot. It's fine, it's not great, and I want it to be great for my Lycheeanus geckos. So, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Do you forgive me? No, we're good, we're good. I speak parcel tongue, he's fine. Actually, going to be tearing this apart. We're going to be completely customizing it, so it's going to be an amazing Lycheeanus enclosure. We only have one pair of Lychees to breed. We might as well make a really cool enclosure for them, right? Again, back burner. We have so many other projects to do right now, but that is in the back of my mind. Before the 2024 breeding season for the Lycheeanus, we will have this enclosure ready for them, and this will be the place where we breed them. And then, of course, if you guys saw my other video about setting this up, we did get 4 brand new 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot black Zen habitat cages, deluxe spacers. Check this thing out. Wow, absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait. We're going to be doing these. These are priority lists because as soon as these are done, we're going to be pairing our Tokay geckos up to hopefully get some babies for next year. But so this will probably be done by the end of the week, beginning of next week, I want to say. We're going to take these one step further. I'm going to take a note from Kevin McCurley and his Tokay Gecko enclosures. I'm kind of going to make the Walmart version because I do not have the funds to do everything he did, but we're going to do something similar to that. I got all the materials ready. It's just about getting it set up and getting it done. Very excited for it. Very excited to finally. I'm kind of been getting FOMO. I see like my buddies, they're producing all these really cool Tokay Geckos. I'm over here not producing anything for like almost 2 years, and it's giving me like, I have FOMO from not getting Tokay Gecko babies, so I really want to get this thing finally finished so then we can get back on track on being a serious #1 best Tokay Gecko breeder you see in the reptile hobby. Where are you going? Then over here, of course, we have all of the Tokay Geckos that I was talking about. While these enclosures are not ready for them yet, of course they're still in their glass enclosures. What used to be a giant tent filled with Tokay Geckos is now a little L-shaped shelf piece still filled with Tokay Geckos. Now for you guys that don't know, we work with a multitude of different genetics over here, starting with the granite gene, reduced patterns, green galaxy, we got a het platinum, het patternless, the super red that we talked about a little bit earlier, some unidentified stuff that I'm trying to prove out, and then of course some high red stuff, or I believe Kevin McCurley's coining red stripe now. I don't know, high red stripe, whatever you really want to call it. Some really cool Tokay Geckos I'm very excited to get back in, and we got around 15 right now that are ready to breed, ready to go, just waiting on me, getting off my butt and finishing these enclosures because they want to make babies. And by God, do I need to sell babies. For some reason you guys don't want my crested geckos. I have so many crested geckos available, why is no one taking them? By the way folks, you guys have probably seen so many Zen Habitats cages at this point. If you guys are interested in getting any of these enclosures, I actually have a link down in the description to get all the information you'd want with them. Absolutely fantastic enclosure. If they weren't great, I wouldn't be putting my most expensive Tokay Gecko in it. I think that should just tell you something. Use the link down below. Your boy gets a small cutback if you do. I very much appreciate it. All right, time to talk about, well, the other side of the wall. Now for you guys wondering what happened to all my new Caledonian geckos, here they are. We've got the 2021 growouts right here and here. That's kind of off camera. All of the breeders we've got in this shelf right here, and then all of the babies in the 2022 grow outs. What are you doing? Absolutely fantastic. Now, while we've been upgrading our Tokay Gecko setup for this year, at the end of the year, I'm also upgrading the Crested Gecko setup. I don't like these 56 quart bins. I mean, like, look how silly this looks, right? Like, it's baker's rack and bins, and then like a beautiful, almost floor-to-ceiling PVC enclosure. It makes no sense. Just as much sense as a snake does. Why do you do the thing? Oh my God. All right, be a headband, that's fine. So at the end of the year, we will be upgrading these enclosures. I have a great idea of what I want these enclosures to be. It's just about getting the funds for it. Again, plenty of crested geckos to buy if you guys are interested. DakotaBlueExotics.com. I do want to wait to the end of the season in case we got any more girls laying. Unfortunately, with the move, a lot of them have cycled off and not laid. Our pattern girls with the lily white pairing, which, I mean, if there was one gecko to keep laying, I'm glad it's the lily white pairing. They're still going. Hopefully they got a couple more clutches in them, but we are going to end the year very, very light. Cannot wait for that. Again, we're going to do some floor-to-ceiling enclosures and just really make this place the best that we can and utilize all the space we have. Because again, goes next year, guys, and with these 2022 growouts, we are going to have around 20 new female crested geckos breeding. That is going to be somewhere around 200 to 300 eggs for the season. It's going to be absolutely insane of a year. We'll be going to around like 75, 80 eggs to 200 to 300. Absolutely crazy year. You guys are going to see me at pretty much every reptile show you can because we are going to have to market these babies the best we can so we don't get overrun over here. I can't wait. We've been growing these girls out for 2 years now. Some of these Dalmatians are like, I'm sure I'm showing the B-roll. They're absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see what they can produce. However, we still got a couple months to go. I think like 6 months or so, whenever the new season is. Cannot wait for that. Yes, the only thing I didn't talk about is I have that baker's rack right there. That's actually my workstation. There's so many new cal cups now that I need a little workstation to do it. It's not as easy as it once was, man. Like, all these cups, 300 baby crested gecko cups every other day cleaning. It's gonna get a little insane, but it's what I signed up for. Old Dakota will no longer be broke if we pull it off. I'll be happy about that. I'm really tired of the frozen waffle and ramen. There you guys have it, the brand new reptile room. Of course, we've got, this is only 2.0. We got 3.0 already in mind. It's gonna be upgrading all the new Caledonians. I wanna end up, now, this won't be like all at once, but first off, it's gonna be the breeders. We already upgraded our grow outs enclosures. And then for the babies, I actually wanna utilize colubrid rack systems. I think it'll look a little bit more slick than a bunch of shoebox bins, and it'll definitely make my life in time management a hell of a lot easier. But I believe that'll be probably like next season or the season after. Again, 300 babies. That's like 10 of these 36 tub colubrid rack systems, and then that's like $3,000. So we're not there yet, but hopefully we'll be there soon. I think the only other thing I want to add is something to cover up the concrete, maybe like a cool reptile poster or another one of my banners to throw up there. Not entirely sure yet, but honestly, boys, I mean, this is the bad side of it. Let's go back to the good side. Just check this out, man. This looks so cool, especially once these enclosures are lit up, and then we have the LED barn, little jungle theme. I'll probably pop the doors off because they're just scuffed to shit at this point. We'll pop those out, have a cool jungle thing going on, man. It's almost there, but still, honestly, guys, I did not know how much this remodel would impact me. I mean, like, I'm like, before, like, it was fine, stuff was kind of everywhere, but at this point, man, I'm proud to go in and see this reptile room. We got the snake rug back too, I forgot to mention it. Check out Cool Snake Rug. I'm proud to come in here. I'm excited. I want to come down in here and check out this space. It looks so cool, man. It literally, it looks more professional, right? I know with Viv, it's hard to act professional. Where are you going? Feels more professional. I finally feel like a real breeder now. Everything is set up nice, it's aesthetic, it looks great. It's not just like put everywhere. The tubs I'm still not happy about. I will be switching them soon. I think at that point, I know a lot of people do take me seriously, and I know we got a lot of fans. I love meeting you guys at the reptile shows. You guys say inspiration. I've helped you guys a lot. I really appreciate that. But me, myself, man, I haven't really felt like a true full-time reptile breeder. And I think once everything is going good, we're making 300 crested gecko babies on top of Tokay geckos and all the other new cows. I think I'll finally get it. I think I'll finally have a feeling of accomplishment and really feel like I don't have that imposter syndrome, and I just feel like I do belong and I'm here and I'm really the real deal. But only time will tell. Maybe then I'll be like, no, I need to make 25,000 geckos before I feel like a real breeder. Who knows? All I can tell you is what's now, what can happen, and what will be. As always, boys and girls, thank you so much for checking out the... But as always, boys and girls, thank you so much. If you guys want to check out some more reptile room tours, we got a playlist right here, or you guys can see how the room originally looked when I first moved here and moved animals across state lines. Absolutely fantastic. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to follow us over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. I will see you guys next time, but until then, goodbye.